Good evening. I hope y'all having a great day. I've got some low-grade buffalo river that was real grainy, and I run it to like 800. I'm probably gonna run it to 1,000. Gonna thin it down and run it even higher. But it's good stuff to watch and learn on, and learn what to do with it. And so I'm gonna do some slow motion stuff. Well, it's not slow motion. It's gonna be slow motion for me to show you where I'm hitting and how I'm hitting and why I'm hitting. So I'm looking at this piece, and it's a real steep angle right here on the end. I could hit on, but it will work, but it's a little steeper than what I like. Here's a perfect angle for me right here. That's some shell. There's a seashell in there, and this come out of Tennessee, as you can see it. And I like this angle right here. And I think I'm gonna hit here and run down this corner like this to try to thin that out. Now I'm telling you, stuff don't mat real good. It's real grainy, extremely grainy. We're gonna see what we can do with it. And here again, I just go to napping and not explaining nothing. We got a ridge right here, so I'm gonna hit up here on this ridge. Follow that ridge, and I'm gonna hit right in here and follow those ridges I left. As you see, this is getting some nice convexity to it, and down here it's a low area. So I'm gonna chip back this way, remove some width on it, because I got a ridge running right here. Now then I'm gonna grind it, and I'm gonna come down on that ridge. That piece followed that ridge pretty good. Now, I'm gonna do away with this, because I got rid of all the heavy stuff. And I like to use this a lot more. And this one's starting to wear out. They get a deep ridge around there when they wear out, and I just replace them with another cap. It's real simple to do. But I'm just tapping with it while I'm talking to you. All right, now if we look on this side, we got a ridge running here. I don't have to hit on and see how it went. I'm gonna come up here and make another one this way. And hit on it like that. Come down here and hit on it a little more. Now I'm just bringing this edge up. All I'm doing is hitting down like this. I hope y'all can see this. I'm gonna look up and see if it's in the camera. Yep. Hitting down like this. Turning that edge. All right, let's see what we got. What did good? That did good. That one did good. That one did good. All right, now, let's turn this edge up this way and come this way. Okay, we hit right in here. Come right through here and do a little flip-flop. Hit this way, flop it over, flop it over, flop it over. Hit on the end. Got me a little platform there. Now let's look right here. This is still messed up here. This is a little original stuff here. My brother-in-law come to see me from Nashville, Tennessee. Spent a couple of days with me. He retired, just recently retired. And he got to talking about some of the stuff I got here. When he was coming up, when I married his sister, he probably was 12 years old. He was something like that. And even though there was a lot of things I got into, I was always getting into stuff. Always. Never was a dull moment around my house. So anyway, I'm going to quit talking and explain what I'm doing again. I'm going to quit on this one. Knock this little spot out right here. And set it as a stall, or might go ahead and make a preform out of it. Don't know. But I'm going to stop right there and put it in my bucket there. Now let's get another one. Woo! Look how thick the mud's on. Oh my God. But anyway, I was a big turkey hunter. And we have what we call red bugs. Some people call them chiggers or something like that. In spring of the year, if you're sitting in the grass or ground, they just get all over. They can eat you up. And you can't see them, it's a little. And that had a crack in it right there. I think I'm going to save that and do it later on. Trying to work some bigger pieces so you can see what I'm doing. So let's look down here. Here's one here. This stuff's piled up at my feet. But we call them red bugs. And it used to be a song that the old people would sing because they would get on so many people. People don't garden nowadays like they did, and a lot of people don't know about them because they don't get outside in the grass as much as they did years ago. But the song was something like, I got a little jigger that's not much bigger. Let me see, got a little chigger that's not much bigger than a point on a very small pin. But the bumpy raises itches like the blazes, and that's where the rubbing comes in. But anyway, I can't say that I wasn't trying to. I just trying to remember how that went. But to tell the story, I'm going to try to come right down this ridge here. Big blast, look at that. Now I'm going to round this off. I'm going to hit this way. Come down and hit this way. Look how it rounded that off. I don't even need to grind it. Look at that there. Another ridge right there to follow. Another ridge right there to follow. But anyway, I went turkey hunting that morning. And I got in them things so bad. Time I got to my truck, I was dying. I was itching from the top of my head to the bottom of my toe. I never had so many of them on me in my life. We're going to come this way. And I'm not going to explain what I'm doing. I'm just going to point it out as I tell this story. But I pulled up in the driveway of my next door neighbor, maid, house cleaner, whatever you want to call her. She was out sweeping his carport, and her name was Liz. And I got out and I was about to die. And I said, Liz, do you know anything good for red bugs? And she said, you got red bugs on you? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, come on over here, I'll get you something. And she went in the house, and I waited out there in the carport where she was sweeping. And she come out with a brand new bottle of Lysol. And she said, you put you a cap full, you take the cap off, and you put you a cap full of this in the bath water and take you a bath, nice hot bath, and just soak in there, and this Lysol will kill them. They'll get rid of them. I said, I never knew that, but I am so glad to find it out. I said, I never had them this bad before. I've always had like just one or two on me. I said, I've literally got hundreds of them on me. And I said, they are eating me up. So I run in the house, and I can't wait to get that tub full of water. But in my master bedroom, I didn't have a tub. I had a huge shower of different shower heads coming down from different directions. I designed that house as the first house I ever had built. And I always liked a big shower like that, and I kind of designed it that way. And so, boy, I'm sitting there trying to get that tub full, and I can't wait to get that Lysol in there, and I'm sitting there and that water's running. I put me a cap full in there, and I said, man, look, I'm going to fill this tub up as deep as it gets. I'm just going to put the whole bottle in. I didn't know nothing about Lysol, so I just put the whole bottle in the tub. And boy, I strip off butt naked and that tub gets full, and I jump in there and I just go down like an alligator going underwater. Nothing but my chin and face is sticking out of the water. And I'm laying there, and all of a sudden I'm starting to get some relief. I'm not itching as bad, and the water's pretty hot. And I'm sitting there, and you know, this is going to work. In a few minutes I started getting a little hotter, and I said, oh, something's going on. Boy, all of a sudden I got to getting real hot. And then I got to burning bath, like fire burn. I said, what in the world? And I said, dang, that Lysol's burning me. And man, I jumped up out of that tub, I got burned so bad. And I said, I've got to let the water out. So, you know, you got a tub full of water, it takes a while. And I'm sitting on the commode, watching that water go out, and man, I'm hurting. I mean, I'm hurting. I'm burning all over. Under my arms and my private parts, I'm burning bad. And I think about the shower. So I'm running through the house, and I'm the only one there butt naked. And hop in that shower. Well, the shower is perfect for one part, but you can only do your back or you can only do your front. So I'd do my back, and my front get burned so bad I couldn't hardly stand it. And I'd switch over and do my back. Then my front would get to burn. I'd switch over and do my front. That's what the tub's got to be about empty by now, so I run back through the house, and fast as I can run, water going everywhere off of me on the floor. As I looked, the tub's only half full. So I run back and get in the shower. Man, I am burning, and I'm burning, and I'm burning, and I'm burning. But we didn't have cell phones or that. So I run back in there a little bit, and the tub's full. There's nothing but cold water. And I mean, you know how you get in cold water, how it just takes your breath away. Boy, I got in there. And I mean to tell you, this stuff is grainy right here. It's tough as woodpecker lips. But I got in that tub of water, wasn't nothing but my nose sticking out. And it felt so good. I mean, it felt good. And I stayed in there for a long time. And I got out, and it was burning again. I get back in that tub. Boy, you talking about a grainy, tough son of a gun. This is it right here. I'm going to take that one right there, and I'll do another stage of working it down later on. Let's see if we can find another big one. Here's a big one that's real grainy. We can see how grainy it is. Let's see what it do. So anyway, I get out of that tub, and I'm sitting in my chair, my recliner, butt naked. I done dried off. And I mean, I am burning, and my private parts are burning more than anything. They burning so bad, I'm about to cry, so I wanted to go to the hospital. So I called my wife up. She works for the doctor. And she answered the phone, and you don't have cell phones. You don't have no number ID or nothing. She didn't know it was me, and I said, baby, I said, you're going to have to come get me and take me to the hospital. She said, what happened? What happened? What happened? What's going on? She's just a stuttering, boy. She was scared to death. I said, I had ruined myself. What do you mean? I said, well, I don't think we'll ever go have any more children. What have you done? What have you done? I said, well, I put a whole bottle of Lysol in the bathtub and jumped in the water and soaked it. She said, you gotta be crazy. I said, no. She said, you took Lysol, man, that stuff will eat you up. I said, well, I didn't know. I said, I had no idea. I knew nothing about Lysol. And she said, well, I'll come get you, take you to the hospital. I said, no, I'm just kidding you. I'm going to make it. I said, but I'm burning bad. I said, I'm hurting bad. So I went and got back in the tub, put all new fresh water and stayed in it and got out. And about an hour later, I had to get back in the tub, and that went on for off and on probably for 5, 6 hours. I'd stay out about an hour and get back in for 30 minutes, stay out an hour and get back in for 30 minutes. And I finally started getting some relief after a long period of time of doing that. But I'm going to tell you something, and this ain't no lie. I shed skin like a snake shedding his skin from my chin to my toes and everything in between. His skin just come off, and he wouldn't believe the skin that come off. I bet you I had 1st degree, 2nd degree burns all over my body. But I've never put any Lysol on no water set. And thank God I never got any more Red Bull set. But that's my Red Bull story. All right, let's see what we got here. I took all these ridges off. This is flat on this side. And it's grainy, but not as grainy here. Over here, it's real grainy. So I think if I can bring this up some, I'm going to hit down like this, and hit into it like this, and come back around here some more, come back this way some more. I'm going to raise it, show you what we're talking about here. I turn that over, that edge there. I'm going to try to run one up this ridge here. That's what I was telling you I want to try to do. But anyway, he hadn't visited with us, and I hadn't visited with him before we've been in each other's home probably for a year and a half, 2 years. We had a good time talking about stuff, and I was like his hero in a way, and he can remember everything I did that was funny like that. And he got talking about stuff like that and different things. It was a blast, and he asked me if I remember that time I got hung up in the barbed wire fence. And I told him, oh yeah, I'd never forget that. I straddled a 4-strand barbed wire fence, and I was up in the air and I fell, and my legs went straddled it, and my right leg went down, actually hit it, and it rolled my pants up. It got caught and rolled my pants up right up under my crotch, and it cut me all down that leg. And I was standing on my tiptoes, and I couldn't fall down on the ground because the barbed wire was all rolled up in my pants. It was holding me up, and I didn't know what to do, man. I was hurting. But I'm gonna swap to a small one. Hey, Cat, how you doing? Cat come in to visit me, and so I was engaged to marry my wife, and my brother-in-law we were talking about. I don't know how old he was, but his 2 brothers come out, and they were like 13 and 10, something like that. No, more than that, like, yeah, I guess it was like 13 and 12. And I said, well, get your mama quick, man, I'm hurt. Get your mama. And the way this happened, they had a tree, and had a rope swing on it, and it was a ditch there. They swing all the way across that ditch and drop off on the other side. They thought they was Tarzan. And I had put the rope up there for them to do it. Well, the daddy bought a cow and he fenced the place in, and he tied the fence on to the tree. He didn't use a post or nothing. At the end of it, where he made a turn, cause that big tree there, and the barbed wire fence was right in the middle of the swing. And when I come in that evening to court their sister, I say I was engaged to her, and I got off at work that evening. They were out there playing around. I said, "How you boys doing?" They said, "Well, we're trying to figure out how we can swing." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, Daddy put a fence up." I go over and look, and I said, "Wow." I said, "That put an end to the fun." They said, "Yep." And I looked at it a minute, so I could think I'm Tarzan. And I said, "You know, all you got to do is jump, whatever, you swing that rope to the other one, and he gets a running start. And when it goes over that fence, he jumps up and grabs it, and he can swing over that fence, drop off the other side." And they said, "You think that would work?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'll show you." I said, so I told Ken, the oldest one, to swing it to me. And he's on the other side, and had a big old knot on it. The big old rope about big around my wrist. And he swings it on the other side of the fence to me. And I run to get a running start, and I jump way up in there, and I grab it. And I go over that barbed wire fence, and it don't go. And I thought I was going to go past it, and I misjudged it. And I dropped. I let go. And when I fell down, I wasn't like, my feet was like maybe a foot over that barbed wire fence. But I wasn't past it. And when I went down, it went right upside my legs. Rolled my past legs up so tight I couldn't move, man. I couldn't do nothing. And it was right up to where everything comes out of the bottom of your waist. I mean, it was right up there in your crotch area. I was stuck. So he runs and gets his mom, and they hollering, "Come quick." John hung up the fence. And I told him, I said, "Tell her to bring a knife or something." So she didn't bring nothing. He comes out there to see it. She said, "Oh my gosh, how'd you do that?" So she runs back in, gets a pair of scissors and a knife, and she comes out there and she has to cut me out of that fence. She had to cut through my underwear and everything. And if she knew she's dead, but if she had known the future, she probably would have cut more than my underwear. He cut me out of that fence. That was the most embarrassing thing. The whole leg, all the way up to my pocket, the blue jeans was missing on that side. She brought me a towel out there wrapped around me to walk into my car and my truck, get in my truck and go home. My mama said, "What in the world happened to you?" I said, "You don't even want to know, Mama." All right, this one's doing pretty good, so let's quit telling lies and stories and stuff, and I'm gonna quit telling them. We're gonna kind of talk ourselves through this one here. Some cracks right here. See that little hook right there? Look at that. It goes right up through there. I'm probably gonna lose a half an inch off the side that's facing me. I'm gonna see how far it goes right now. We'll know. Before I do anything else, I'm gonna test this out. Just made it like a big hinge. That's a crack. Now I'm come over here on this side. Raise it up. Get down that way. Had a little hinge on that side. Get it out of the way. Okay. I lost about that much because of that crack. Now here's what we're gonna do. This is like little scoops out in here. I'm gonna try to get some convection on this side. I'm gonna raise this side up and I'm gonna pull it down. We'll lose a good bit of wet doing it, but we just got to. The way I'm hitting is almost straight on. I think that worked. We'll know in a minute. Bring this edge back up now. And what I'm trying to do is get all this mud and stuff off of it. And even these low areas out. That did good. This one didn't. That one did pretty good on that side. We'll come back over the other side and get it now. I can get some of it right here if I don't break it. Alright, I'm going to try to like a flute. See if I can get some of this right here. I'm going to hold it like this. Hit down on it. That's where that crack's at right there on that top. It ain't going to go nowhere right there. There we go. Now, well, this messed up here, right here. I'll tell you what happened. I didn't grind that. It was my mistake. It was too sharp of an edge. So I'm going to come off of this point and round it over here. Round it here. I'm going to come back and come this way. That pretty much got it there. Now, I heard a turkey gobble. I got some turkeys behind the house on the Natchez Trace property. Natchez Trace boards behind my house there. But I don't have any on my place. They come on it, well, they come on it, but they stay on the trace over on the other side. A lot of timber over there. I just got a few oak trees, and that's about it, and pasture. They like them acorns to eat. I think our turkey season's over with. I don't turkey hunt no more. I used to love it, but I don't know when the season starts or when it ends anymore. Don't keep up with it. All right, we still got this one bad area right in here. And I don't like it. It's right here. Grind it real hard. I'm gonna start right here. See if I can. See if I'm head bend it down that way. What I'm trying to do is get my ridge running right here. All right, see this ridge? Knock a little of this off this way. Right on down it. All that turned out real good. Where this crack is, it's going through here and it's going through here. The same dead blade crack that's been giving me problems from the get-go. I done about had enough of this crack. I'm about to lose my patience and crack it upside the head. There we go. Should have make a good crack out of it. Well, we're gonna work and thin this one another day. I was sitting there thinking about that turkey I heard. I know it was a turkey, no doubt about it. But it reminded me of a friend of mine. Gosh, he's probably 85 now. I'm 74. He was a good bit older than me when I met him. But he was running a oil field supply business. They called Mid-Continent Oil Field Supply. They were all over Texas and a lot of other states. He was manager of the store here. And they transferred him here. And I met him because he started going to church, same church I went to. And he liked to deer hunt, but he never turkey hunted. He was a good deer hunter. And anyway, we got to hunting together and stuff like that. And he loved to fish. I had access to all of that, and he didn't, so I'd take him fishing, and had access to a couple of good lakes. We had private lease on them, and we'd fish. And I don't even know if I'm going to continue this. It looks pretty good, but if you can look right here, you can see little holes all in it. This is grainy. Look how grainy that is. But I think it plays out. I'm just going to lose a lot of it real quick. And so anyway, we'd fish and deer hunted for a couple of years together. But I never took him turkey hunting with me. And he said something one day like kill a turkey. I said, man, would you let me know? I said, we'll go. I said, we'll go this Saturday morning. He said, okay. So we go down there and this big old tree had fallen. The wind stormed it, uprooted. I mean, huge tree, monstrous. That tree's over 100 foot tall. One of them trees, 6 people couldn't reach around, oak tree. And the end of it is right on a little creek bank. And the turkeys were roosting on a ridge. Had a real high ridge on the other side. That ridge probably went up 60 foot. And on the other side of that creek. And I knew they were roosting there because I went there and found them there late one evening. I got to hooting like an owl, and I heard them gobbling and flying up on the roost. And so I had it all set up, and we got there, and it was still dark. I took him to that treetop, and I said, there's a limb for you to sit on right there. We won't be on the ground. And I said, I broke some limbs off above his head. He had one of them head nets on. And he had limbs about, I don't know, about this big, maybe 6 inches above his head, a whole pile of them. And he's sitting there on a big old limb that broke off on the side of the tree. And it starts getting daylight. I go to calling and yapping and everything. Boy, that old gobbler, he goes blowing his head off, man. He just bellowing. He'd never seen one. He'd never been turkey hunting before. I'm sitting about 10 yards from him up against the tree. It had a bunch of sweet gum vines growing around it and all. And I crawled up in a little thicket like that. And I'm sitting in there and I can barely see him. He's covered up. And I'm looking at it and he looks at me and I did my thumbs up. He nodded his head and the motion for him to get ready. That's something just blowing the top of the woods out, man. I mean, he just gobbling and gobbling and gobbling. It was unbelievable. And I heard him when he flew down. I heard him when he go, whoosh. Then he like started gliding. It got quiet. I looked and he'd come gliding across there and he landed on a limb. One of them limbs about this big round, about 6 inches above his head, right on top of his head. And that limb come down and was hitting him on the head like that. When it did, he come out from under there. And when he jumped up to come out from under that turkey crap, right on top of his hat, and flew, took off, and that limb showed up was beating him when he flew off. I couldn't do nothing. I was laughing so hard. He come up there and I just bellowed laughing. He said, man, that scared me to death. I said, you scared the turkey to death. I said, I've never witnessed anything like that in my life. I said, boy, if I had a film We ain't had no cell phones or nothing back here. And the boy, I had some way to do a movie that, we'd have it made. But he ended up killing one like a week later. I called one up the soybean field. We was in the edge of the woods, and he was on the other side, and I called him across the soybean field, and he killed him. Man, he had so much fun turkey hunting. I don't know what's got me thinking about all these lifetime adventures I went through, and I ought not tell them all because I run out. I thought about another one with him. He was a good fisherman, but he always fished in a big bass boat. That's all he ever owned. Down in South Louisiana, and they moved him up here. He never sat in an aluminum boat, and I had a 12-foot aluminum boat. And this was a private, about a 60-acre lake out in the woods, right out in the middle of the woods. A company owned, timber company, and the river was flooded most of the time every year. Sometimes it wouldn't get in it. But it was full of white perch and bass and crappie, whatever you want to call them. And so I took him fishing with me. And I didn't have... I never even took a trolling motor. I would just sit on the front seat of that aluminum boat and stick my hand right down on top of the water with that paddle, and I'd do like that and just move up and down the lake. I could go pretty fast. We was about probably 6 yards from the bank. There was 999 million cypress trees in that place. My place, you couldn't even fish because the cypress trees so thick you couldn't get the boat to them. You'd have to go way down and try to find a way to get the boat in there to go to another place. The boat wouldn't go between them. And we were wearing them white perch out. I mean, we was catching them big old black white perch. And we just got in a bunch of them around some trees there. And he says, I gotta go to the bank. You gotta go to the truck. I said, what you gotta go to the truck for? He said, man, I gotta use the bathroom. I said, daggone, I ain't got no toilet paper. I said, I forgot all about getting any. He said, well, I ain't gotta do that. He said, he said, I ain't gotta do that. He said, I just gotta pee. And I said, what do you want to go to the bank for? He said, well, I got to get out and pee. I just stand up and sit there and pee out of the boat, back seat on me. I was in the front seat. And he said, man, the boat ain't steady enough. I said, well, I'm going to pull up here to this tree. Had a big old limb coming out on it. And I said, you hold on to that limb and you stand up there and do your business. Oh, okay. So I got up there and he stood up there and was holding on that limb and he was scared. The boat was kind of wobbling. And I looked back there, and he was kind of shaking. Some of his legs were shaking. And all of a sudden, he hadn't even got ready to do what his business was. And the wind started picking up and blowing pretty hard. And I was paddling that boat, trying to hold it still, and it got blowing that boat away. Well, he wouldn't let go of that limb. And I think y'all know where I'm going with this. But his body was stretched out like this, and here's the limb up here, and his body's following the boat instead of letting go and sitting in the boat. And all of a sudden, he was almost straight out, and he let go, and he went in there and did a belly flop in the pond, the lake, and his hat comes off, and it goes floating by me, and he comes up, whoo, whoo, and the water was cold. This was in the spring of the year. I mean, the white perch hadn't even started bedding yet. We was catching around the base of the trees, and it was cold. We had jackets, though. he got to shaking so bad. And I said, well, we're going to have to go. He said, no, I had never caught fish like this. I never seen fish bite like this. He said, come down, I ain't going. And we fished about another 20 minutes. He said, I got to go. He said, I can't take it no more. I got to go. But he told me to help him. I said, man, I can't help you. I said, I'm laughing too hard. I said, yawn on this one. I'm going to try to run some pretty heavy flakes down through here to see if I can take these hinges out on this side. I'm going to come this way. All I did was, did real good here, and here I just made a big old nasty hinge in it. I don't know if my platform wasn't strong enough. I really think what happened, I just hit short on the edge. I didn't hit high up on it what I wanted to. We're going to come in here and try something. Might work and it might not. I'm going to try to come this way, like this. Look how that took that hinge out. Went that way. Pretty neat. So you can hit all kinds of different angles. You don't have to hit straight across. Always remember that. Hit this way or this way. Or... Right now, what I want to do now is try to build this side up. Try to build this side up and remove material on this top part here. Then I turn over and do that other side because I building convexity in it. Now if I don't hit short, boy, that did good. Look at that. Big old knot right there at the bottom. Well, it come out real good. I got some stuff there when I hit this way, it come out, but we kind of flatten that out with just a little medium rig. Now we got this low area where all this dry mud and stuff is, and Cortex. I dug these things up probably at least 10 inches on the ground. And I didn't cover them up. Just over the years, they've been there probably 15 years. The leaves rotting and the rain blowing and stuff like that. And I never did fool with getting it because most of it was grainy rock. I bought some bad rock. I trusted the fella. He was supposed to know what he was doing. And I never tested the rock. I went up and bought it from him. I was in a hurry. I was trying to make a one-day trip. About 16 hours, 8 hours there and load up and come back. And make one day. And we got the Cortex on it, all looks the same. But 80% of it was nothing but like sandstone. You know what I'm talking about if you ever worked buffalo. The real grainy buffalo. So I just threw it out of the way. And grass grew up around it and everything else. I never fooled with it. And I got thinking about it. I said, there probably was some good pieces in there. about 1 out of every 10 was good material. And I said, I need to dig that stuff up. So Kobe come by, and he was visiting with me for a couple of days, and he helped me, and we wrote that stuff up. And I did a video, and I don't know if I put it on YouTube or not. I just don't remember. I was working some of it then, after I got it heat treated. But I run it up 100 degrees higher than you normally do good quality buffalo, and it's working. I got a pile of it. I'm gonna take another 5-gallon bucket full. I'm gonna run it up 200 degrees higher, see what happens. Might all blow up. It's not good like it is. It does work okay, but not great like this. You got to really be careful with it, watch what you're doing. Can't make no mistakes with this. No room for errors here. Back years ago when I was quartering the vacuum light with Mr. Wallace up at Magnet Cove, Arkansas, it all took different temperatures. There was so many grades out in the vacuum light. Different grades would take different temperatures. That was the weirdest thing. And black, we never did figure black out. We'd run across a vein of black, and I swear it would be slick as owl poop. That stuff, you really didn't have to heat it. You would heat it, and you could see your face that it would shine so much. And then we'd go about another 20 yards into it, and you heat it, and all just fall apart. It'd be just like sand or something. That was the beatingest stuff I ever seen, that black stuff was. Now, usually when it was mixed in with the white, it was okay. 9% of the time, that was okay. It was just pure black. You couldn't tell until you heat treated it. The only way you could tell would be heat treating it. I ain't even finished with that one. Look how thin it is. That one done pretty good. I think I'm gonna put it up here for indirect. Okay. I'm gonna cut it off and we're gonna do an indirect one. Hope y'all have a blessed day.